What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone is doing well. The Celtics win streak is done. It's over with. The 6-game win streak is snapped by none other than the Charlotte Hornets. This loss coming in overtime, 121 to 118. And man, what a clunker this game was. What a streak of clunkers they've had, even though they pulled some out. If you guys have been listening to the last couple episodes, you've been hearing me say they've been playing down to their competition. You just felt a loss like this was sneaking up on them, and they finally got it handed to them tonight. Let's start with the team concerns. It's basically the stuff I've been harping on after every loss: lack of energy, lapses on the defensive end, and unwillingness to move the ball and create good looks. And listen, I know coming into tonight, this team has a top 3 offense, a top 3 defense. So the things I'm bringing up, they're not there all the time, right? They might not even be there for 40, 45 minutes of the game. These are very momentary lapses, but it's a big deal when your ultimate goal is trying to win a championship. You can't have these momentary lapses. A thing that stands out to me the most, not just about this game, but about this season in general, is that before the season, Jayson and Jalen, in separate interviews, said they wanted to make all defensive teams. I think that's a very reasonable goal, especially for Tatum. In recent years, we've seen him be an elite perimeter defender in big moments. Brown definitely physically capable of doing it, and we saw earlier in his career he was known for being a 3-and-D guy. But as I said earlier, lack of focus, lack of energy on that end, especially from those guys in moments. We saw Tatum tonight get burned on a back cut. We see Brown commit 5 really stupid fouls. I feel like if you set that expectation for yourself before the season, we have to see a little bit more on that end of the ball. And while we're on the Jays, let's go to Jalen. I'm not going to rip on him too hard. I feel like social media, and there's probably other Celtics post-game shows that do that too, but we definitely have to talk about some things that have been going on. So the other night against Memphis, he had 12 points, and tonight he finishes with 13 points on 17 shots. And there was some stat floating around after the game that Jalen hasn't scored under 15 points in 2 games straight since 2020 or 2019. So it's obviously really out of character to see 2 games in a row like that from JB. But it's not just these 2 games. Like, he had 2 11-point games this year, a 16-point game. He's just been having a really difficult time fitting into the offense and getting his own within the flow. There's some people who want JB to take on this Ray Allen catch and shoot type role. Sure, he could do more of that. That would be helpful. But that's not why you pay him, and that's not what he's best at. He's a 3-level scorer, a bucket getter, a flamethrower. He just needs to figure out how to do it in the flow of the offense. Ultimately, I think the scoring will come around, but I'm more concerned about the nights like tonight when the scoring just isn't there. What is Jalen doing to impact winning? Something that I think Tatum does really well. We see there's nights where he knows he doesn't have it going, and we see him crash the boards. We see him set hard screens, make plays for others, and that's what I want to see from Jalen. He just has to get like 10% better at a couple other things, and there will never be any Jalen slander on the timeline again. And now let's move on to Drew. This is Drew's second really bad game in a row. And I think all Celtics fans are realizing there is no difference between a bad Drew game and a bad Smart game. Just careless turnovers, at moments wildly inconsistent around the rim. I was going to blame it on the back-to-back and him being 33, but I don't even know if 33 is considered old in the NBA anymore or heading towards that way, because we just see guys play for so long. So maybe I'll just chalk up his offensive inconsistencies to his defensive work ethic. Is that a cope? Is that a cop-out? I don't know. But I do know he's been worked like a dog on the defensive end. He's guarding 5s, he's guarding 1s, he's guarding the best player every night, being put in every single action. It's just a lot for him to do. It's just too much wear and tear. Overall, I'm not too concerned about him. I've seen him play for 15 years now. I know he'll get it together. If you were to just look at the box score, I think one of the most interesting takeaways would be the difference in plus minus between the bench and the starters. You got guys like Luke, O'Shea, Pritchard, who are around the plus 20, and you got the starters of JB, Sam tonight, KP, who are around negative 20. But with the bench, I was just really impressed with them, and just impressed what Joe was able to do with the rotations and how much he was able to squeeze out of them. In the fourth there, Celtics were up 87 to 81, a 6-point lead, and he rolled out a lineup of O'Shea, Pritchard, Luke, Svi, and one starter in Sam. Around that 6:30 mark in the fourth, the lead was extended to 9 points, and then the starters check in. I just don't think you would ever expect or be able to predict that with a 9-point lead in crunch time, these Celtics starters would blow a lead to the Charlotte Hornets. And that's not to take anything away from Charlotte or discredit them. There's some individual performances that I want to hit on with them, but I will admit it's just crazy that you're getting gamed by Miles Bridges. Like, you're getting gamed by a guy, if the allegations are true, that should be in prison. It's a tough pill to swallow. I can't lie. I think it's at that point in the episode we are at the quick hits portion. So who are we going to start with? None other than Peyton Pritchard. He is making me look good again. Okay. I had that rough stretch there. I was saying he's the best bargain contract in the league, or he will be by the end of the year. And it didn't go so well. I think I might have jinxed him, but tonight He's back at it. Season high 21 points. Started off 4 for 4 from 3. Finished 5 for 8. And did a really nice job there with the starters out, extending that lead with the bench. And I talked a little bit about this last episode, but we're going to hit on it again. I'm liking this new Joe Mazzulla. I think he's taking the reins as the head coach. He's becoming president, right? That's what he's doing. Nobody is safe. He's not scared to bench Tatum. He's not scared to bench Brown, Holiday. Nobody is safe. There's no special treatment. If you're not helping the team, you're out. And yes, Tatum had 45 tonight, and we barely talked about it. That's because the team lost, and I thought he settled a lot in the second half. It's crazy to say that someone could have 45 points and the game not be great for him, you know? But that's how high the standard is for Jayson Tatum. Next, let's do a little bit of Hornets talk. If there's any Charlotte fans listening, I'd love for you guys to comment. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, if I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just an outside perspective, and I love your input. LaMelo is tough, an absolute gamer. It's crazy to see some of the shots he takes and he makes. It's almost like he's playing a different game than everybody, kind of in a street ball way, but there's been players who played street ball in the NBA in the past, and it hasn't really been conducive for winning, but I don't think that's the case with LaMelo. I could see him being a winning player at the end of his career. Mark Williams, I love Mark Williams. He's probably my favorite player on the Hornets. I take him in a heartbeat. His defensive presence, his size, and it's not just because of similar last names, but to me, there's some similarity there between him and Rob Williams, who I have a complete soft spot for. I just don't see any reason why Mark Williams can't develop into like a consecutive all-defensive team player. And Brandon Miller, he's slowly turning me into a fan. Before the season, during the draft, I was unsure if you guys picked the right guy. I thought maybe you just go with more talent and that would be Scoot, but I don't even know if that's the case anymore. I think Brandon Miller fits well with what you're trying to build next to LaMelo. He just seems like he wants to ball, right? He's fearless, super athletic. I'm curious to see how that Paul George comparison that some people throw around, I'm curious to see how that ages. And I know this might be a sensitive topic for some fans, but I do want to bring it up and I want input. How do you guys feel about Miles Bridges? Are you excited to have him back on the floor? Do you guys just separate basketball from the person? Is that even possible to do? And that's going to be it. I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you enjoyed this and listened all the way through, please like, comment, subscribe. It's the best way to support. I'm here after all 82 Celtics games, all 82 plus. I will talk to you guys Wednesday, November 22nd, Milwaukee Bucks. Dame Drew, peace.